What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. This is our top 10 hottest selling comics of the week, our weekly video series brought to you by PopCultureZone.com. Before we get into this week's top 10 books, don't forget to check out PopCultureZone.com's. Their links are below. Check them out if you're interested in getting your hands on some awesome exclusive and incentive variants at affordable costs, CGC slabs, and of course all different kinds of pop culture items, including toys and statues. And if you're buying raw books, they ship at a flat rate fee of only $4.99. You also do not pay taxes, with the exception of New Jersey. Pop Culture Zone is also on eBay, where they still hold a 100% customer feedback rating with over 8,000 ratings this year alone. So again, those links are below to their website and their eBay store. Check them out and make sure you follow them on eBay as well.
Being that we're coming at these books a week after their release, we are taking the approach to where we are looking back at what they've done over this last week since they hit the top 10 a week ago.
Chris, you're going to have some thoughts here. So why don't we just get right into it and give us your first most interesting book off of that list?
Yes. So you guys know how I do. If you watched this before, you know I'll pick stuff that has a big question mark. I'm not just picking them because I'm so excited that they made these lists. But my first pick, Iron Fist #1. This book is exciting to me, and that's why I picked it for one of my top 3. Let's look at the numbers. 128% upward trend in sales from last week. All right. Now, last week's high raw was $20. This week's high raw was $18. Now, that's a 2% decrease in value, but that's nothing, folks. I mean, you have this book trending at around that $20 mark right now as a new release, because this is the first appearance of Lin Lee as Iron Fist, formerly known as Swordmaster. So I really am excited about this character because, for one, I am all about Iron Fist being Asian. I'm sorry to say, not that I have nothing, negative to say about Danny Rand, but I really just like this being a cultural thing that relates to this character because of his cultural and ethnic background. So I just think that that's really cool. I think that there can be really good stories told from here on out, because I already have enjoyed, and I wasn't a huge Iron Fist fan as a kid, didn't read a lot of the comic books, but I already enjoyed the mythos around Iron Fist. So I think that this can work. It could be very popular to that global audience, of readers, bringing the more global audience in. And I think it's just fitting to tell some really good stories now. So I hope good stories are going to come out of it. I got this on my pull list. I will be reading it. But the thing with the values here right here now is that this is a book, when we talk about people specking on books and brand new books coming out at a $3.99 price point, and now they're selling for $18, $20. Again, $18, $20 isn't a crazy amount. And I think this is definitely something that people are looking after for multiple reasons. Like I just stated, it's not just, oh, what's the next hot thing? I'm going to buy it to flip it. This is something that really interests me. And I'm willing to pay $15, $18, $20 to get my hands on it because I did miss out when it was going for cover price. But don't get too caught up on the 2 weeks difference in sales with just it being a couple dollars. So, yeah.
Well, one of the cool things about the book, I mean, not only do we have an Iron Fist that's Asian, and, Marvel does have a great kind of push for inclusion and more diversity in comics. But now we have an Iron Fist that's not yet truly an Iron Fist. Chris, if you haven't read it, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Swordmaster's sword shattered. Now he's embedded pieces of the sword into his fists to gain the Iron Fist-like qualities. And moving forward, if he does become, a true Iron Fist, then that's just gonna, there's a lot of upside to this book.
I think it's a fascinating kind of, just the fact that the sword is shattered and in his kind of, his fists and his forearms and stuff like that, and giving him these kind of powers. I think that's super cool. I'm excited to see where they take this. Here's the deal. These characters, you have different characters becoming like that superhero. You had Ben Reilly becoming Spider-Man. It doesn't matter. It's a different iteration of this character. They're going to tell a different type of a story, and it's going to build off of the Iron Fist mythos. And we should all be happy about that, to be honest with you, because otherwise it's going to be regurgitating the same. And we We can't have it, comic books and these characters stagnant. They got to continue to move forward. You may not agree with it. The storytelling may suck. The creative team may suck. Okay, that's fair, but just give it a chance because they're trying to move characters forward.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. People want their cake and eat it too. We want these characters to evolve and we want fresh stories, but when it goes outside of a box, there's a lot of complaints about that as well. But like you said, Jeff, I mean, it really boils down to telling these good stories. I like, especially with how Tony just highlighted with what's setting him up, starting this story arc. It's fresh. It's a fresh take. It's not just, here's somebody taking the mantle and going through the same motions as Danny Rand or those that came before. So I'm very optimistic on seeing something fresh with this character.
Well, I like that Danny Rand is still involved. He's taking on a different role. He's more of a mentor in this case, or he's going to evolve into a mentor from the way the story seems to be going. So, I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm sorry. I like old characters, but I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid of Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man that my kids know, that doesn't bother me in one bit. So I like the fact that they can tell new stories with new characters, doesn't take away from what's happened in the past, and Danny Rand is still involved. I mean, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I've been an Amazing Spider-Man fan since, I was a little kid. But for me, there's been so many points in that massive run that it's just become so stagnant. I mean, I literally left Amazing Spider-Man on Spider Island. It was just, to me, it was like, come on, guys. I mean, I stuck through the Clone Saga. I stuck through, a lot of stuff. But to me, Spider Island was like my breaking point, and I left, and then I had to go back and buy all the issues because I'm that guy who has to have everything. Yep. But it's okay for not change for change's sake, but to freshen up the paint, so to speak. I mean, let's get some fresh blood in there for a change. And I mean, I do like Danny Rand. I have his first appearance right here on my side, but I mean, this is just a cool take on an old character.
All right, that's enough of that, guys. We're gonna get on to the second most interesting book from this list. Chris, what do you got?
All right, guys, I had a lot to say about this book last week, and it's still here, and it's my number 2 pick. New Avengers, number 7, first appearance of Illuminati. And I made a bold statement about the CGC selling for 700 last week, and my concerns with what that looks like. But I'm not mad at these Illuminati books being hot right now. I think I said this last week, when we look at the Multiverse of Madness trailer, that last trailer, or all of the trailers, and all the spec that's coming from it, I think this is one of the most feasible one. I mean, there's some really ridiculous stuff, and we might talk about that in a few minutes here. But the Illuminati setup, I mean, hearing not Patrick Stewart's voice, right? Him walking into that building, seeing whoever that is sitting in a form of judgment. This could really be the Illuminati. It makes absolute sense. But let's look at these numbers. So it's still moving 151% upward trend in sales. But remember, last week it did hit that high of 9.8 for 700. This week's high, 9.8, 600. That's a 14% decrease in value. Now check this out. Last week's raw sale average. So that's when you're averaging out all the raw sales, no matter the grades or anything like that, $120. This week's high raw, $100. So that's not an average. So it's not even the average dropping by $20. That's the high. So this is problematic for me. And this is what I was trying to, talk about last week in terms of taking heed and being cautious about how we hop on the hype train in the FOMO. Now, I have a feeling that if the movie comes out and we see the Illuminati and it's there, and this thing is coming to fruition in front of our eyes, and it's done extremely well, and we leave that movie theater and we're so freaking hyped at what we saw, like most of us usually are coming out of the theater with MCU films, right? I think this book might go back up from that point. We might see it shoot in a 9.8, shoot past 700. Whoever paid that $700 for that 9.8 last week, you could have sat back and paid $100 less this week. But then these things are so, in a sense, fragile. And this is why I don't like to focus solely on high sales. Because let me give you a scenario. What if that person that bid up that high $700 bid last week didn't buy that book? What if he didn't buy that book? That book might not have reached $700, might have reached $680, might have reached $650. You never know. And what if that person that bought that book said this week, you know what? I think I'm going to go at this one now. That $600 one might have not sold for $600. It might have sold for $650, $680, maybe $700. So, you know, you're looking at a very small sample size of what these books are doing on the market. I think the average raw, you know, being at 120 and that high raw at 100 is a little bit more indicative of what the book's doing on the market. But still, you got to take raw sales with a grain of salt, because you don't know the grades of those books. I mean, there could have been a book that somebody really thought was a 9.8 candidate and they bought it. I think the high last week was somewhere around 170, 180 for a raw. Maybe that high $100 sell this week, maybe there wasn't many that folks actually looked at and said, you know what, I really think this can be a 9.8 candidate. So again, it's not like this book is tanking. Oh, it dropped, you know, sensationalizing the highs. It's dropping 14%. You can't look at it like that. I encourage people, though, to look at it as it is a volatile market. It's a small sample size. And it just takes a couple of bidders being on eBay or being somewhere, bidding something up at one point in time that can really move that price, you know, anywhere from 5 to 20% differential. So.
Agreed. Tony, your thoughts?
The spec market, I love it. It's so crazy. This is solid spec. I mean, there's another book on the list that's coming out of that trailer as well that I don't agree with as much. But I mean, this one seems solid. And I love that Patrick Stewart came out and said, yeah, that's my voice, but it's a recording of something else. He's playing the game, man. I mean, he has to. There's, you know, non-disclosure agreements and all that. He's playing the game. And if they appear on screen, people are going to go nuts. That $700 book, while it's high compared last week compared to this week, I mean, who knows where it's going to go? And that's the whole thing with these books. I mean, I don't pay secondary market, you know, prices for anything. I have the book. I'm happy to have the book. I read the series. I love the series. But I don't chase. And FOMO is real. And like, guys, seriously, like, price things out. eBay's not your only seller. You know, there's other places. Mercari, you know, even Whatnot. You're finding hot books on Whatnot now that, you know, aren't hitting these like insane prices. And the thing about eBay, and just segue for a second, you're going to get these massive spikes in prices, but you're also going to get guys who are just looking to sell a book. They're going to undercut like crazy. Mm-hmm. And eBay, a lot of the times, is a race to the top, but it's a faster race to the bottom. You know, if you see something, give it a week or two, wait on it, and see how you're doing.
Perfect example of the stats that Chris gave in this, you know, right here. I mean, it went down. So I'll say this, like, again, Chris and I say, we don't tell you what to buy, what you should or shouldn't buy. We'll give our opinions, but, and if you feel that a 9.8 book is worth $700 to you, go for it. You'll be happy then if you feel it's worth that. In my opinion, I wouldn't pay these prices at all for this. And I know, Tony, you're saying that there are other ways to get this book probably at lower costs. But even if they are in Doctor Strange, I don't see this as being a long-term spec or a long-term hold. I think it's really unlikely they'll come out with an Illuminati movie. I think, you know, again, I don't think they'll be ingrained in the kind of the MCU lore. You know, that's just my opinion, my personal opinion. I would have loved to have gotten this book for $20. I tried to get it. Something got messed up on eBay like over a year ago. But again, you know, I'm not feeling like I lost out at all. But I personally don't. I think this is kind of insane. And as you were saying, Tony, just spec and FOMO. It's Chris and I talk FOMO every week. It's off. It's like going crazy. That new Black Panther book, Black Panther 3, just a few weeks ago, is a perfect example of that. So we'll see.
And I think too, you know, Jeff, you bringing up your opinion, that's the thing. We never know how Marvel Studios is going to deal with these characters. Jeff, I don't agree with you or disagree with you, because it can go either way, in my opinion. Like, they can bring them up in a multiversal, context, and then they don't exist in the main prime universe that we see. Or I do think that the Illuminati is something that can similar, and it's not the same thing, but it's similar to, like, I'll just use this as an example. Nick Fury in Samuel L. Jackson's role. He's such a big character, and he's never had a huge role in any of the films. I mean, obviously until Captain Marvel, where he was, it was him and Captain Marvel pretty much. Civil War, not Civil War, but Winter Soldier. A bit of a bigger role there. But anytime we see him on screen, it's exciting, even if he's just there for a couple minutes here and a couple minutes there. And he just kind of lingers in the background, but he's always got his hand in things. I could see them doing something like that with Illuminati as well. But again, you never know how this pans out. And for me, this is what I said last week, I would much rather pay $120 for this book raw, doing my due diligence to really look at the book. I'm emailing the seller asking for 20,000 pictures. I'm zooming in on all of them. Was it press? Was it this? I'm asking the questions. Then I'm buying it for $120 raw. I'm going to bring it and press it up myself, or send it out to somebody to get pressed. And then I'm going to send it hoping to get that 9.8. I would much rather do that and try to get that 9.8 and maybe take a gamble and get a 9.6 than spending $700+ for this book. But again, that's just me.
Yeah. Our opinion.
I would rather take $700 and buy a low grade Fantastic Four 49 right now.
I think if I can jump in a second, I think Jeff hit on probably how the characters are going to play out. I mean, we're talking about this multiversal group. It's not going to be necessarily the Illuminati like we see in the comic books. It's probably going to be guys from different, multiverses coming together, trying to get a feel for things. And honestly, I think that's how it's going to play out in the movie. I could be wrong, and the thing that I really love, though, with these characters, the potential, while we probably aren't going to see an Illuminati movie, I guarantee we'll probably see some kind of Disney spinoff. I mean, Disney Plus is such a great kind of not only launching ground, but ground to flesh out ideas that they can't flesh out in the movies. I mean, there's some great shorts on Disney Plus coming out of, like, Thor, just fun things. I mean, it's just, there is potential for it. I'm not saying spend $700. I'm not saying $600. I'm with Chris saying get a raw copy. I mean, hunt the shops, man. I mean, you'll never know what you're going to find. Hunt the walls, look in other places, and always ask questions, always ask for pictures. Don't just buy off one small cell phone picture on eBay.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Exactly. Well said. And C to the G, this is 2 weeks in a row, I think. They've said this. What if Wanda kills them all off? I mean, it's like I think he's saying it, they're saying it as a joke, but don't know.
Yeah.
And going back to the Black Panther #3, giant freaking robot. I think it was Bleeding Cool, actually. Manipulated that Black Panther book, though, saying that the character was the next Miles. I have something to say, actually. Tony is the next Miles Morales.
I possibly am. I am.
So get your first appearance of Tony. You're going to be doing all right. All right, moving on, though. We have your final book of the week you find most interesting off of this top 10 list. Chris, do tell.
I was just joking in my live stream on my channel on Friday about the facepalm thumbnails, right, on YouTube. You guys see the facepalm thumbnails?
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at everyone that does it. I mean, there's great facepalm videos, like, but then there's some that just like, and I'll probably never do a facepalm thumbnail in my life, but I might, because it seems like those are the most popular ones. But
it looks good. Do it again. Let's do it again.
Pull me up solo real quick, because I'll probably never do a facepalm thumbnail or video or anything. I'm going to give you guys something real quick.
You're the next. This is a me.
Oh, right, well done. Well done.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, yeah.
All right, because that's how I feel. That's how I feel about my number one. My number one pick, Superior Iron Man. Number one, Jeff.
Facepalm.
let's look at these numbers. Okay, so remember, guys, this is how we're doing this. This is last week's top 10. And then I dive in and I do the calculations for the current week and see where it's at. Last week, this book had a 992% upward trend in sales. Now, I've talked about this before. An upward trend doesn't have to equate to a huge increase in value, especially if it's something where there's a ton out there. You know, I've seen books increase in actual units sold, and, you know, it doesn't really move that much in terms of the value because there's such a high supply next to the demand. We actually saw Eternals #1 increase in units, but drop in value, huh? How does that work? That's a whole other conversation. Anyways, but look at this. Last week's high raw, $59. This week's high raw, $192. That is a 225% increase in value right there. Now, it's going bananas because look at this, folks. You got the second prints, and the second print has smaller print runs. Well, guess what? Rarity doesn't equate to being valuable. I mean, just ask anybody that went and freaking spent their life savings on Beanie Babies. Second print sold for $125. A hardcore, this is pretty hardcore. A hardcover trade, a hardcover graphic novel.
Oh my God.
Sold for $90, folks. Oh man. Okay.
Face palm.
Keep the graphic up for a minute because and by the way, if you didn't know, this is the first time we see Superior Iron Man. But let's look at these numbers one more time. I want you guys to really look at this. When the trailer dropped that week, it hit 59 as a high raw. Since then, it's more than tripled that to $192, 225% increase. Second print hitting 125, hardcover trade sold for 90. Okay. We all know, and if you don't, why this has gotten hot, and it's because, again, it's another one coming from the Multiverse of Madness trailer, and we got that, you know, kind of flamed, blue blazing character flying through the screen. And, you know, lots of rumor and speculation out there. Could it be Monica? Could it be a variant of Maria? Could it be Superior Iron Man? Could it be Tom Cruise as Superior Iron Man? Could it be RDJ coming back as Superior Iron Man from another universe? I mean, all these theories. Could it be Iron Lad? You know, could it be just Jonathan Majors? And then we get this zoomed in image of the still frame of this character, and it looks like it's clearly somebody wearing a helmet, and that's somebody looking like Jonathan Majors. And Jeff, we talked about this last week, and I'm going to talk about it again. Marvel Studios, these big, they're not letting us know anything that they don't want us to know in their trailers. And again, them cutting out the other Spider-Man in the No Way Home trailer. They're not, they are not going to allow anybody that just has the Photoshop program or that had an 8K TV that they took a still frame on, or 8K computer, whatever, to take a screenshot to be able to zoom in and see that this character is Jonathan Majors. Just my opinion. I don't see them doing that. And the interesting thing, if you go and watch that trailer on your phone, on your computers, whatever, and you take a screenshot, everything is blurred equally. And if you look at that zoomed in image that's circulating around on social media, the whole image is still blurred, except the face. Why is that? I'm sorry, as somebody who does graphic design, somebody that does, who works with Photoshop, and even with all these crazy apps, you can buy a free app right now and do so much stuff to manipulate an image. I think this image is doctored. Now, do I think it's doctored by somebody online that started spreading it? I don't know. Or maybe it's Marvel Studios doing their own doctoring to fool us. I don't know. But regardless, now here's the thing. Could this character be Superior Iron Man? Absolutely. It could be Superior Iron Man in a way that we never seen before because Marvel Studios likes to take things from the comics, but maybe, switch things up again. It could be a Superior Iron Man that's a dude that we don't even know, or it could be a dude playing a dude that's playing another dude. You don't know. It could be Monica. It could be Maria. It could be Jonathan Majors in some form. But to spend this kind of money on a book that was a $5 book, maybe a $10 book in a high grade, I thought it was crazy that people were spending $60 on this book. Now people are spending, what was it again?
$192 or something.
$192, $125 on the second print, and $90 for a freaking graphic novel version. It's just crazy.
Yeah, this is one of those things, man. It's when I had mentioned earlier that there was another book on the list that really I had feelings about. This is that book, and I was hoping you would bring it up, Chris. I really appreciate you bringing it up because this is such a spectacularly bad buy. I have a copy. From when it came out, and because at this time I was buying everything, and that's just the way I was. But I'm selling. I'm sorry. Smoke them if you got them. This is one at $192. I will buy it back later at a cheaper price to fill in the hole. I'm half tempted to go over to the S's over here and just pull it out and list it on eBay because I didn't realize that it had hit $192. And now, my butt's itching to get over to the boxes and pull it out and sell it. If I get a $140 out of it, I'm happy. I mean, this is one of those books that's been sitting in my bin. I'm not kidding you. I have 40,000 to 50,000 comic books. I've been doing this, 37 years. And I mean, I just have way too much that when something like this comes up, I'm just like, all right, time to sell. So.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Again, and this book is not near and dear to your heart, is it?
No, not even close.
Exactly. So again, why not? That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Especially $90 for the trade paperback. Are you kidding me?
Sadly, I think I saw these in Ollie's not too long ago. Ollie's is a discount chain that has Marvel hardcover graphic novels super cheap. And I want to say I saw these probably 2-3 months back in an Ollie's. Man, I wish I had grabbed a stack of them.
Unreal. Yeah, you would have been more than dinner money right there. Maybe a down payment for another house. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. But anyways, all right. So Chris, anything else to add to this book, or Tony? I'm angry now.
It's just, and look at this. Here's the thing, and Tony, this goes back to what you were saying about, explore your options. There's a book right now. I mean, it doesn't look near mint. Maybe a very fine copy. I can't tell. There's a lot of pictures, but there is a copy that's selling on Mercari right now. First print for $30. So, there it is. So, and again, I mean, it's not a beat up copy. It's not near mint, but still, if you do want to spec and spend a little money, just still be patient, guys, and explore your options. But I don't really think outside of that, I have anything else to say. I think even if we do get this, even if this turns out to be some iteration of Superior Iron Man, this would be a one and done in my humble opinion. So I just, to Tony's point too, I can't spend more than, I mean, if I was an Iron Man fan and I didn't own the book, maybe I'd spend $25. Maybe I'd send a best offer and offer $25. But if it's not that, I'm not even touching it.